Welcome to Tea and Games. Tea today is an old favorite, Yorkshire Gold. Good breakfast tea. And good morning to everybody, although I think it's actually afternoon. Yeah, it is. I missed lunch. Today, we're going to look at a few of the games that we've been playing lately. And I've talked about some of these in previous videos, just ever so briefly, but some of these I have not talked about in previous games. But first, to the somewhat familiar. We've played a couple of games of Tokaido this month. Tokaido is definitely on my list for relaxing games. You just follow the path and whoever is the furthest behind jumps ahead, and you stop and you buy souvenirs and you paint pictures of the landscape, and these are all cards you collect, or you encounter people along the way who give you some special benefit, or you stop off at hot springs and just get straight up victory points, things like that. Or you can stop by a temple and donate to the temple, which is also good for points at the end. You play different characters. These characters have different abilities. The characters' cards, they have different advantages. Like you might want to emphasize encounters. If you have somebody that has a special ability that gives you an advantage in encounters, gives you more or better or something like that. Also, same thing with temple or souvenirs or painting the landscapes. It's just a very relaxing game. It's kind of tricky because of the whole jumping over people, and you have only so many spaces and you can't occupy the same space unless you're playing at a higher player count. This game is available on an app, and I play it on the app all the time. And it shows the little people, traveling the long road in Japan from one place to the other and stopping along the way, and they stop at an inn and get a meal at every stop thing, and it's just really nice and relaxing, and we both like it a lot. And I play it on the app, and the app has a thing where you can make it slightly less relaxing because you can speed it up so that the people do not leisurely travel across the map on your phone app, but they go and it's just hilarious watching them kind of bob along like that in a manic fashion. But the app is the same. You can choose, is same as the base game here, except you can choose the character that you play, whereas with the game it's a random selection. And you can also choose your player count playing against an AI on the app. I think there's also, you may be able to play online with the app. I'm not sure. I usually just play against the AI. However, it is available on Board Game Arena. So if you're on Board Game Arena, I have played it on Board Game Arena. If you're on Board Game Arena, you can play it there with whatever player count you want and whoever you want. I believe that the characters you get are randomly generated, which would be like the game when it's on the table. But it is, I don't know, like I said, it's just a very relaxing, chill kind of game. I suppose you could get really tense and worked up about it, but I just don't. We're also still playing Macro Crime City. We are now halfway through the game. We're up to the level 4 mysteries, crimes, whatever. And I will repeat one of the tips that I gave in a previous video. If you're playing this, it's best not to have huge numbers of people because it gets all crowded looking at a small area of the map. Though you do sometimes have to like go back to some place like over there on that edge or something like that. But this really, I think, is better with smaller numbers of people because otherwise you're just jostling each other. And also, everybody who is participating needs a magnifying glass. It comes with a little magnifying piece of plastic slide thingy, but everyone really needs their own magnifying glass. Also, another thing that we do is we just have like a handful of dice on the table. because this is the weekend and we're playing games, and we use dice to drop on the map when we find certain things, like on the cityscape there, to mark certain events that we find, because sometimes we will want to go back and look at them again to see if there's some other clue in that location or at that time period, like if there's somebody else around that we should have paid attention to but didn't know to at that time, or see where they could have gone from there. So it saves a bit of time to just have some kind of marker to hand that you can drop onto the different locations on this enormous cityscape drawing map thing, so that you can mark things as you go along, and it would make it easier to go back to, because then you don't have to hunt through all the little bitty teeny tiny people and drawings. I'm looking around because usually when my voice goes up very high, the dog comes running in, but didn't this time. We're also still playing New York Zoo a lot and having a lot of fun doing it. This is a polyomino tile laying game with also just a ton of meeples that you've got to manage. You've got to place them out, and this also helps with the tile laying, but you've got to get the balance right. It's not like Patchwork. Even though it has the same designer, Uwe Rosenberg, I like this a lot, and so does my husband. And this is one of the few polyomino games that I can actually win against him playing, which is just, it kind of evens it out for all those other polyomino games. Speaking of which, Valentine's Day is tomorrow, or possibly today. I'm not sure when this video is going to go out. And we have the Valentine's edition of Patchwork. Now, for us, this is just our regular edition of Patchwork. We also have the Halloween version, which has eyeballs as currency. And we have the Christmas version, which the polyominoes look like, they look like little presents all wrapped up in festive paper, and it comes with a cookie cutter. But the Valentine's edition is what we consider just our basic Patchwork. We don't actually have just the original basic Patchwork. This is just a reskin. There's not been, unlike Halloween, the tiles have not been rebalanced or anything. It's just Patchwork, only it all looks like chocolate. Yes, chocolate. 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 And the gold pieces on here, this is the same as basically the gold coins, the currency, the eyeballs in the case of the Halloween version. Oh, more chocolate. And more chocolate. And lots more chocolate. So that when you're finished, your little player board looks like a chocolate box. And I mean, yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like if you don't have the base game of Patchwork, then if you like chocolate, then you could just get this and it would be your base game. As I said, the currency are the little gold foil pieces. See? For the game, and the player peaches, the patches that you get to do the little one pieces. They are like little pink candies. The player pieces are, because this is the Halloween edition, red and white hearts. Here's the 7 extra bonus point square. The marker to mark where you start going around and where your place is here. On one side, it just looks like a pink blob, like cotton candy. But if you turn it over, it's actually a little Cupid. So they're really leaning into the love theme here. If that doesn't work for you, get another version of Patchwork. But I just kind of feel like that chocolate, 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 and chocolate. So, and because I am usually playing this with my spouse, that works out fine for me. Ooh, look. Is that raspberry or blackberry chocolate? Ooh, good stuff. So, anyhow, let me pull out the boards here. The boards are... I'm making a mess. I always do. The boards are double-sided, but the sides are exactly the same. And for the white piece, you have a gray board. Red piece, you have a kind of a burgundy colored board. The board that you're moving your pieces around on, that you put the little patches on, isn't that lovely? That has just a really, really nice color palette to it, dotted with the little golden candies and the pink patches that you fill in with these squares, that you place these squares over. So that's what Valentine's Patchwork looks like. And I would highly recommend it because it is an extremely attractive version of Patchwork. I would say that it is at least as attractive as the Christmas version and possibly more attractive than the Halloween version, unless you like monsters and weird things, you know. But we do like the Halloween version. It also has a very nice color palette to it. But I wanted to show you that because we have been playing that because, I mean, it's our regular version of Patchwork, but with Valentine's coming up, why the heck not just do the Valentine's edition of Patchwork? We've gotten a new game this year. First new game of the year. I did not back the Kickstarter, but I stumbled across this at Barnes & Noble, and it was on my list, very near the top of my list. I've been waiting for this ever since, well, basically ever since I saw two of my other favorite content creators talk about how much they love this game and why. Before You Play, Monique and Naveen mentioned this game. Also, Amy and Maggie over on Thinker Themer just love the original version of this game. This is a new version of Birds of a Feather, and this is Birds of a Feather Western North America. This is a fast little card game. Birds are a very popular theme thanks to Wingspan. And this is a game right here. Deck of cards and a score pad. And you don't even need the score pad because they have an app for this, and the app will it has a score sheet on it, which is color coded, which the score pad here is very tiny and black and white. The app on your phone will be somewhat bigger, and it will be in color, and it will also run on tablets. There is one drawback to the app, and well, actually two. One is that it makes a really loud, annoying sound whenever you first run the app, even if you have sound in the game turned off. It's, I guess, key to system settings, and it drives the dogs crazy, too. And there go the cards all across the table. Yes, I'm knocking things over and spilling things again. And I forgot what the other annoying thing about the app is. Oh, yeah, you have to have an internet connection or it just doesn't run. So, I mean, that's fine on your phone because on your phone is probably going to be connected to some kind of network all the time, unless you're in a dead zone or a basement or something like that. But if you have, as I have, also a tablet, which is not coming on, there we go. If you also have it on a tablet, and the tablet is not connected, then it won't load. It won't load up to this screen. It will just spin and not even give you the little annoying sound until you get an internet connection. And even then it won't do it. You have to basically close the game and then get an internet connection and then open it again and let it load. Now you can play it after. See, I've got Wi-Fi turned off. I'm on airplane mode now. You can play it after you get it connected, but it has to have a connection or the app won't load. Here is what the score sheet looks like. See, nicely color-coded. You are trying to get, ideally, one of everything. All of the different, all of the birds in every habitat, and you get 2 points for double wings, no points for eggs, and 1 point for everything else. And it automatically gives you the score as you tap and add things, and you can clear or undo. And that is very, very helpful for scoring things. And I'm trying to go back to the solo play. It has the solo version of the game on here. Main menu. Play solo. And the solo version of the game, you can view the rules. It also has narration for some reason, which I turned off. The solo version of the game is different because you have a draw and discard mechanism, which adds an extra layer of complexity. I actually think that the solo version is slightly harder than playing with real people. And you've got birds down there at the bottom. I'm just going to leave this for now and get to the actual deck. You have the colors are the habitats. The symbol up here at the top, that tells you what bird it is, and also the habitat. Down here, the little dots on the bottom tell you how common it is. Eggs are very common. You will have multiple eggs. You're going to have at least a couple of the 1-point cards. Now, this is a single wing card. Here, you're only going to have one of those, and you're only going to have one of the raptors and one of the double wings and things like that. The way you play the game is super, super simple. Everybody is dealt a hand of cards, and they all choose a card to play and simultaneously reveal the card. And then they score for whatever card they played, but they'll also score, being able to mark off, that is. And see, even though eggs don't have any points, you get 3 points if you make a complete set of all the birds in one habitat, in this case, the purple habitat. So you need eggs. And eggs are very common. But you will not only score for the card you played, but if somebody else played a purple card, you're going to score that too. And the cards that are left, and this can play anywhere from 1 to 7 players. Although, as I say, with the single player, there's a draw discard mechanism. And with the 2 and I think 3-player game, you basically have a deck. You deal out 15 cards each, and you have a deck that you pull 2 cards off of to represent the 2 other players. So let's say these are the cards that were played in the first round. Now, you are only going to score this one once, because even though you got 2 1 feathers, you can only mark single feather brown habitat once on the scorecard. So these are going to be lingering birds. So these remain on the table after that first round. And then everybody selects another card to play. And let's say that the 4 cards played are these 4 by the 4 players. Okay, you will score. Let's say you played this brown card here. This is the desert habitat. You're going to score this one, which is 2 feathers. And you're also going to score this from the lingering birds, assuming that wasn't the card you played the first time, in which case it would have already been scored. So you're going to score off of, every time you lay a card down, you're going to score the card that you laid down. You're going to score the card that has the same habitat and number of feathers, not number of feathers, same habitat. You're going to score the card that you laid down, and all the cards in the same habitat that everybody else played, plus any lingering birds you have not already scored that have that habitat. There, I think I said that pretty clearly. And this is trickier than it sounds. And so there's not any take that in this exactly, because basically you're trying to piggyback off of everything, particularly when somebody plays one of those rare birds that there's only one card like that. If you're trying to get all the birds in a single habitat, and of course, even if you don't, and you probably won't, then you still get points for them. And the double wings are worth 2. So it's a fun little game, and you're trying to figure out what other people are going to play, and also you're looking at what you've already scored, saying like, okay, I've already scored this, but I may want to hang on to that because let's say I've got a blue egg. So I'm thinking, yeah, I've already scored the blue egg, but if I hang on to that and don't play that now, then I can use that blue egg to pick up, say, the blue double wing somebody plays later, or the blue raptor that I don't have, something like that. So you're always trying to maximize the birds that you can mark off, the birds that you have viewed in each habitat. And it's a tricky little game in some ways. I think it's going to be different when we play it with more people, because playing with drawing off the deck for the other two players or playing solo, the cards that I don't play or my husband doesn't play, those cards are randomly drawn off the deck, which also gives you some really interesting and tough choices. So it's still a good game. But I think that it's going to be a little bit different when we get, say, 4 or 5 players playing this, because everybody is going to be trying to maximize their birds. And they're going to be looking at what's out there in the lingering birds and saying like, okay, I played things from the marine habitat last time, but there's a lot of desert birds out there I don't have. Well, I kind of have that one, but there's a lot of desert birds out there I don't have. So I need to play a desert bird. And it's like, oh gosh, I've only got one desert bird in my hand, or maybe only one desert bird left in my hand, because the card distribution is not going to be even when you're shuffling these things out. There have been a couple of times where I had 0 or 2 birds in one of my habitats. So you kind of got to be prepared to make tough decisions about making the best of what you've got. Which is why also the random cards still give you a good game that may actually come closer to approximating a game with real people than what I think. Because sometimes the people you're playing with, you're looking at that and they're going like, oh man, they're going to play that purple habitat. I just know they are. Look at that. It's got a double wing there. Everyone is going to go for that double wing. But if you've got somebody at the table that they're out, they don't have any of that suit, you might say. So they're going to play something else. So you can't always know. They're going to play something that's going to look pretty random. So drawing cards off of a deck for 2-player games to simulate the other players, and actually probably works pretty well. We have gotten some really good games out of it. I don't know. I'd have to look at BG Stats to see how many times we've played this since we got it. And we got it 8 days ago. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. I mean, we are just playing this to death. It plays very, very fast. It's a lot of fun. Even with 2 players, it's a lot of fun. And I think it's going to be a tremendous amount of fun once we get even more people at the table. I'm thinking about getting some of those little half-size pencils to put into the box here so that we would have pencils to go with the score pad, because not everybody is going to have a scoring app or want to install a scoring app unless, like me, they're just going to be playing it all the time. And the app, you can play solo, and I do a lot. I play this thing solo a lot, and the solo game is very, very different from the other game because of the draw discard mechanic. You have in some ways tougher choices with the solo game. But this is more or less what we have been playing lately. And oh gosh, I have been talking so much I haven't even gotten a good sip of tea. So anyhow, I wanted to let you know this is available retail now, though Kickstarter in some areas is still fulfilling. Like over in Europe, it's still fulfilling, I understand. But North America, you may be able to get it at Barnes & Noble or your friendly local game store. I would check the friendly local game store first. I snatched this up at Barnes & Noble just because I literally walked past it, saw it, and said, oh my God, that's right on the top of my wish list. I must have it now. It happens. But We've been having a good time playing games, and I hope you have too. I hope that you've seen something here that piques your interest, or that you enjoy hanging out with me. I enjoy hanging out with you, and I will chat with you in the comments or on Discord, because I'm on some of the other board game Discords. I'm in BG Hub and Foster the Meeple's Discord and Table Knots Discord. So if you're in any of those Discords, you can look for me there and we can chat. Or put comments here on YouTube. YouTube loves it when I get comments. They're much nicer to me. But it's been fun. It's nice sitting around the table with you, and I will see you next time around the table.